Hello, everyone. Welcome to our very first Live at 5 session of 2021. We are so excited to have you join us for this very first session. And this is such an exciting time for you. So I really want to just give a shout out to everyone who is here today watching this first Live at 5 presentation, because many of you probably already applied to Carleton, which is a really big step in the next chapter of your life and in your journey to pursue more education. So like I said, we're very excited to have you here. My name is Emily, and I'm a recruitment officer here at Carleton, and I'm looking forward to connecting with all of you and really going on this journey with you through the next few months while you go throughout the application process, while you wait for an admissions decision, and this is a very exciting time. Now, before I begin the presentation, I just want to start off by acknowledging the location of Carleton's campus on the unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation. Now, this is our very first winter welcome to our Live at 5 sessions. So we have a lot of really fun stuff planned for you over the next 13 weeks, okay? And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what each week is going to entail. But essentially, over the next 13 weeks, we are going to do a deep dive into the different topics and a bunch of different student services that are available to you at Carleton. Now, some of you may have applied and received an offer, which is amazing. Congratulations to you. Some of you may have applied, received an offer, and maybe are still trying to decide on where to go. And now this is a really important piece to this journey. And we really want to be able to show you what Carleton is like. And we want to introduce you to the Carleton community and really give you that Raven experience even before you make that decision and before you join us in September. And then finally, some of you may have already received an offer and already accepted your offer, which is awesome. And for those of you who have not received an offer yet, we just want you to hold on tight because they will be coming out. We send out offers on a rolling basis, which means that we send out offers usually around 70 to 100 per day. So we're always getting these offers out. And some of our programs take a little bit longer. So if your program is something that requires a portfolio submission as part of your application, then your offer of admission might take a little bit longer, but we still really want you to stay connected with us over these next few months so that we can encourage you and we can show you everything that we have to offer you as a Raven. So first, this is our very first one, Winter Welcome. And then next week, we're going to do a deep dive into our awards and financial aid. So we have a very special guest coming for that one. And in fact, we have a special guest. Usually we bring an expert onto our Live at 5 sessions. And so those special guests and experts will be able to answer all of your burning questions. You can communicate with us through the Q&A function you may have noticed here. And so those experts that we have with us will be able to answer all of your questions, and we'll do a deep dive into the topic that we are looking at that particular week. So next week is awards and financial aid. So you can learn all about the scholarships that we have at Carleton. Maybe you're thinking about applying for a prestige scholarship. Maybe you're hoping to apply for OSAP, or you want to apply for a bursary. So come join us to learn about the application process for that. Then the next week, I have a very special guest coming on for that one. And we're going to be doing a deep dive and talking about what it's like to live in residence. So I know that for a lot of students, living in residence is such a big, important part of first year university. I know for me, that was one of the most exciting parts of moving away from home and going to school. So we're really going to be looking at what it's like to live away from home, the different types of rooms that are available to you as a student, the different types of resources and services that are available to students who are living in residence, as well as things like the CAF. So definitely check us out on that one if you're looking at living in residence next year. Then we're going to focus on athletics, clubs, and societies. So learning all about the different sports that we have, whether that's intramural sports, if you want to get involved in something that's not so competitive, or maybe you're looking at joining something like a competitive club or a sports team or even a varsity team. So come check us out. We're gonna look at those, and we'll also talk a little bit about the different clubs and societies that are available to students. So maybe you want to become involved in a society where you can meet other students in your program, or maybe you want you have a very specific interest and you want to join a club with other people who have that same interest as you. The next week, we're going to do something a little bit new, which we haven't done before on any of our Live at 5 sessions. We're going to really take a closer look at the Carleton community and how we celebrate diversity and inclusion in our community. So we also have a very special guest coming on for that one, my friend Jamie. And so we're going to really be looking at the Carleton community, how we create inclusive communities, what supports and services are available to students, and really just celebrate the diversity that we have at Carleton, because we're such a diverse university, and we really like to recognize everyone's different backgrounds and you know, bring everyone together to celebrate all of those things. Then we're going to look at something called Your Career, Your Future. So we often get students coming to us and asking us, okay, I'm interested in this area, but I don't know, what can I do with this degree after? If I get a degree in English, what's available for me after? Or maybe they know what they want to do in the future, but they don't know quite how to get there. So we invite you to come check out our Your Career, Your Future presentation. My colleague Jalil is going to be running that one, and he's going to be talking about the various degrees that we have, the skills that you're going to be gaining depending on what degree you choose to study, and then what you can do with those skills and sort of building those first stepping stones and those first steps into your career. So definitely come check out that one, because it's going to be a very interesting one, and it's going to be very helpful when deciding, you know, what your future is going to look like. After that, it's going to be your March break. So you will have a break from your classes, you will have a break from your school, but we are still going to be here offering you another session. We're going to be giving you an admissions update. So with this one, we're really just going to be talking about, you know, where we are in the admissions cycle, what you can expect moving forward. Maybe if you haven't heard from us, you know, what you can expect in those next few weeks, and just talking about the different things. I know that this year is a little bit different. I know a lot of you are in a quadmester system or an octomester system. Maybe you have some questions about, you know, what that's looking like, how we're assessing your admissions averages. So come check out our admissions update. Where will we be giving lots of helpful tips for upcoming events and stuff like that. We will then be looking at the Paul Menton Center, and the Paul Menton Center is our center for students with visible and non-visible disabilities. So we'll be looking at ways that we support students who have disabilities and who need certain accommodations. So our Paul Menton Center is incredibly accessible. Even if you haven't been accepted to Carleton yet, you can still access the Paul Menton Center, and you can contact them, and they will help you to figure out a plan for next year with whatever type of accommodation that you need, and they're very helpful and they're very supportive. So come check out the Paul Menton Center live at 5, because that one's going to be full of a lot of useful information. We're then going to look at the Student Experience Office. Now, the Student Experience Office, or SEO for short, it's an office on our campus, and they are in charge of running a whole bunch of different events and initiatives throughout the entire year. So this is how you can become involved. A lot of my friends in university became very heavily involved with the Student Experience Office, whether it was working or volunteering at different events. We actually just hosted, or the Student Experience Office just hosted a big conference this past Saturday where Martin Luther King Jr. III was the keynote speaker there. So they host a leadership conference every single January, and it's always a very big event, and that's just one initiative that they run each year. They are also in charge of running fall orientation, or something that you might know as Frosh Week. So you can come check out that live at 5 to learn about their different events and how you can become involved in, you know, helping with those events and attending all of those and seeing what they might have in store for you next year. After that, we're going to do a deep dive into mental health and well-being, because at Carleton, we recognize that mental health and well-being is so important. And so we want our students to always feel supported, and we want our students to be constantly, you know, promoting mental health and well-being. That's why we have a bunch of different mental health initiatives and wellness programs here at Carleton. And one of those is the therapy dog program. So we have over, I think we have about 11 therapy dogs on campus. And those therapy dogs are available to students, you know, for any student who has that puppy need and who wants to play with those dogs. So that's just one example of some mental health and wellness initiatives that we have. So come check that one out as well. Then we will be looking at the Center for Indigenous Initiatives. So we're going to have a special guest on that one. His name is Phil, And we'll be looking at the different ways that we support our Indigenous community. We will also be talking about the Kinamagawin, which is it's one of our strategies. It has 41 calls to action, and so we'll be looking at how we support our Indigenous communities and how we can all celebrate those our Indigenous communities together, as it's something that's very important to us, and we recognize the importance to respect these communities, and that's part of why we start every single presentation with the land acknowledgement that we do. Then getting towards the end of our Live at Fives, we're going to jump into co-op. We're going to be looking at the co-op office that we have here at Carleton. Now, a lot of students, they have questions about co-op and, wondering if they will be supported in finding a placement. And, a lot of the questions that we get are, how can I find somewhere to do a co-op? Or is someone gonna find me a place, or am I gonna be on my own? So we're gonna be able to answer all of your questions about that. We'll talk a little bit about what that process looks like, as well as maybe what some co-op placements might be that are available to you as students, because a lot of our programs have a co-op option for you. Now, some of our programs don't have co-op, but they have a placement option or an internship or a practicum. So we will be looking at those as well. So don't worry, even if the program that you've applied to doesn't offer co-op, we will still look at some other work opportunities in that one as well. And then finally, 3 months, and in 3 months time, which is crazy to think about, we will be ending off our Live at Fives by looking at our Macodrum Library. And so I really want to draw your attention to a really cool thing about our library, which is our Discovery Center. So whenever I had to study in, when I was in university, when I was studying at Carleton, which was often, you should always be studying, I would always go to the Discovery Center. So the Discovery Center is one floor of our library, and we've got a ton of really cool things in that Discovery Center for students. We've got a 3D printer. We have different labs for students. There's different rooms for students to use as study rooms. There's walking treadmills so that students can do their readings while walking on a treadmill. So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at all of the services that are available to you that's offered through the library. And one of these is the Student Academic Success Center. And this center offers a bunch of different workshops for students. So things like procrastination and time management, how to take notes effectively, and what works best for you. So the library offers students with a whole array of ways that we can support your academic learning. So we'll be going over those in our last Live at 5 at the very end of April. So thank you very much for listening to me go through all of that. I hope that some of those really got you excited and really, got you interested in learning about everything that we have to offer, because this is such an exciting time. Like I said, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, and I just really want to give a huge kudos to you all, because choosing a university and going through the application process is not an easy task. And when you add a pandemic on top of that and a lot of uncertainty, it becomes even more difficult than it would in a normal year. So we at the undergraduate recruitment office at Carleton just want to thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for staying in touch with us throughout this whole process. And we hope that you continue to stay in touch with us on our social media channels there. We encourage you to keep monitoring your Carleton 360 account to view your application status. Once you receive a decision, you will be emailed, and then you will check your Carleton 360 account to view your offer of admission. So thank you everyone so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next week at our next Live at 5. See you later.
Hi, everyone. Stanley Philippe here. I know you were thinking that the event was over, but we wanted to take this opportunity to maybe answer some questions you've been asking in the live event Q&A, and some of the questions we've been hearing from our audience and our students over the last few weeks. So what I'm going to do is maybe invite Emily to come back on screens, and she's been our kind of go-to person for today's live event Q&A and our Live at 5. And I'm going to shoot her some questions, and hopefully these questions will be some handy ones for you to hear answers to, and to get your mind kind of thinking about what type of questions some of your colleagues, some of your friends in high school are asking. So Emily, I know this is kind of a surprise, but we thought you did such a great job that we would kind of throw some questions your way. Is that okay? All right, and you're on mute, but we'll get you to unmute there.
Sorry, there we go. Sorry. I would just
All right.
I said I love surprises, so go for it.
I love that too. So again, a lot of really cool questions are being asked in the Q&A, and one question was about they're receiving an offer of admission. So if you can, maybe kind of walk through what that process kind of looks like. So when would students expect to hear back from us if they have applied and they're hoping to obviously get in?
Great question. So once you apply to Carleton, you will receive an acknowledgement email. So definitely check to make sure that you receive that if you haven't already. And then we will be communicating with you through your email if we need anything else. So if your application is complete, then you won't hear anything from us to request any more documents. However, if we are missing anything, then we will reach out to you to let you know. And Carleton 360, like I mentioned, is where you will monitor your application. Now, it typically takes 4 to 6 weeks to process an application from the time that we get all of your documents. Now, this can change depending on what program you've applied to. So, for example, if you've applied to one of our programs that have a portfolio requirement, such as social work, architecture, industrial design, then it may take a little bit longer because of that portfolio component, but typically it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to process an application.
Now, students who are studying in high school right now will be receiving, if they do get an offer, will be a conditional offer of admission. Maybe you can clarify what that conditional word means and how they're able to meet those conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my colleagues might be posting a helpful link in the Q&A here where you can go to learn about maintaining your conditional offer. But essentially what this means is that your offer is conditional on the basis that you will be completing high school. So a lot of you probably are in your final, semester or quadmester or coming up to the end of your high school career, but we want to make sure that you are finishing all of those prerequisite courses that you need for the program that you've applied to. So for example, if you've applied to, let's say, engineering, your offer will be conditional on the requirement of you receiving a certain grade in your physics class, in your advanced functions class. So it's really just making sure that you are maintaining those grades needed in order to keep your spot in the program. And then once you've graduated from high school and once we see that you have all of those required grades in those prerequisite courses, then your offer becomes unconditional.
Now, there are a lot of really cool questions that are going to be touched on in our upcoming Live at 5s, one of which has to do with our entrance scholarships. And the student asked if their average increases between the time they get their offer of admission to the time they graduate from high school. Would it be possible to actually get a higher entrance scholarship? So how would that work out at Carleton?
Yes, so it is possible. If your marks increase, if your admissions average is, let's say, 80%, and you're given an offer of admission, and then your average increases to, for example, 87, then we will increase your scholarship offer. So it is possible for us to increase your scholarship offer, which is really good incentive to keep working hard and to keep getting those grades up. And the really nice thing about that is that we will not decrease your scholarship. So it doesn't work the opposite way. We will honor the highest average that you receive. So it is absolutely possible to receive a higher scholarship. So definitely use that as incentive to keep working hard and keep, getting those grades up as well.
And the last question I'll ask you, and then we'll officially wrap up tonight's event. But I know you're really passionate about this topic. and the topic is about residence. And a student was asking, when should they apply for a residence? So maybe kind of quickly give a preview of what that process would look like.
Yes, absolutely. I am very passionate about residence because I love living in residence. It was definitely the highlight or one of the highlights of my undergrad experience. So with your offer of admission, you will be getting a guaranteed offer of residence. This means that you don't have to apply for residence. You will have a spot in residence. However, the catch with this is that you must accept your residence offer by June 8th, okay? And you must accept your offer to Carleton before you accept your offer to residence. So once you accept your offer to Carleton, you can accept your offer to residence, and make sure you do that by June 8th, or else you will lose your spot in residence. And you're guaranteed a double traditional room. So you will be getting a roommate, and we will be going over this a little bit more in the Living in Residence Live at 5, but you'll get a little bit of preference. You can let us know if you would like to live in a single room or a double room, but you are guaranteed a double traditional room, and you must accept that offer by June 8th, 2021. So don't miss that deadline. Write it down.
Awesome. Emily, thank you for hopping back on. I know, again, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing, but we're so excited, and we love just hearing you talk. So thank you for doing that. And for the folks that are still in attendance, like Emily mentioned, we really want you to check out the Live at 5s that are coming up these next few Wednesdays, and also take the time to visit our campus virtually. We have an amazing virtual tour that's available, so you can check that out on our admissions website. And if you want to hear more about the Carleton experience, you can also check out our podcast, The Talking Raven, wherever you get your podcast. So the voice you're hearing is Stanley, the voice you've been hearing, and the person you're seeing on screen is Emily. And we are both very excited to chat with you all tonight. So have a great evening, and we'll stay online to answer your questions in the live event Q&A. So definitely do that. Thanks, Emily.
Thank you.